In this video, we're going to talk about the Capita Scott Stevens Pro model. Now, if you don't know who Scott Stevens is, you're seriously blowing it. But if you do know who he is, you know he's the master of the tiny one-footed trick. He's revolutionized his riding and snowboarding as we see it. Now, this board is kind of a combination of an ultra fear and a horoscope, as if they fucked and produced this thing. It's soft and playful where you need it to be, yet stable underfoot for stomping landings. It does have a grippy top sheet, so your feet won't slide off when you're doing those one-footed tricks. And it's a board that you can just do all sorts of weird fucked up shit on. This board features Capita's freestyle profile, which is flat from the outside of the inserts into a rocker zone with the Wapow tips. This makes the board a little more surfy out in the tips, and it's not one of those boards where you have to load it up underfoot. Basically, this is a board that's going to be loose and surfy in the tips and still stable enough underfoot for riding the park. This board is available in regular sizes. Okay, so Scotty Stevens Pro model. You know it's going to be soft because he's a jib guy. But it's not a full-blown jib noodle, and it's not a middle-of-the-road park board. It's kind of right in the middle, maybe leaning more towards jibbing. You have a lot of play in the tips, and it starts to stiffen up ever so slightly, and I mean slightly, underfoot, and then there's a lot more flex between the feet. There's a high abundance of torsional flex between the feet. You can really twist this board any which way you want. Now, I've ridden boards like this that are super chattery and unstable. This board isn't that. You will notice that there is flutter out in the tips when you're at speeds. It's just gonna chatter. It's how it is. But it's dampened by the cork that's underfoot. You're gonna notice that that helps absorb any vibrations or chatter. So it's not one of those rides where you feel fatigued afterwards. But make no mistake, you can get bucked around in this board. It will bend and flex with every contour in the snow, which is great if you're pumping moguls or side hits. But it's bad if you're trying to fly as fast as you can down the run at the end of the day. The board's just going to be going. This is one of those boards that you can choose how much you want to load it up. If you want to be lazy and laid back, don't engage the board as much as you would. You want more snap? Aggressively engage it and get the pop you want out of it. It's not the snappiest board I've been on, but it's not a slouch. It's got enough to get up on rails, to ollie over bush gaps, hit side hits, stuff like that. And if you're going in the park and you're thinking about hitting jumps, keep it to the small and medium line. Nothing really over 25, 30 feet. This board just, it doesn't have that internal girth or structural integrity or whatever descriptive word you want to use for the core to make it stable on anything bigger. It's one of those boards that you do feel the contours in the snow, and as such, when you're landing, you want to brace for it. This is a board for someone that really likes to flex their knees when they're landing. Does this board butter and jib? Have you seen Scott Stevens ride? I'm serious, have you? I mean, he kills it. He's killing it right there. You can see that he's killing it right there. So let's go into this. There's an immense sweet spot in the tip and the tail that really lets you lock into presses and jibs. You're gonna feel it. It's easy to engage. It doesn't fight you. There is, however, a little bit of rebound and snap from this board, so you will pop out of features. When you're locked into a press, be prepared to snap out, and this board will give you just what you want. It's not going to overpower you. This is a board you can bend, flex, twist until your heart's content. You can do whatever you want with it. You want to jib, jib. You want to butter, butter. Transitioning from edge to edge takes no effort. You can manipulate this board into any carve you want. It's that soft. Now, you would think with a board this soft that it's not going to have that rebound to really drive an aggressive carve. You're wrong. I laid trenches with this thing, just ripped Euro carves. I could manipulate this board from a long swooping carve into a tight one just by flexing the board. This is a board with a perfect side cut to flex ratio. It really lets you drive the board how you want, when you want. So don't be afraid to carve with this board. So who would like this board? Well, besides Scott Stevens, I think a jib scientist, someone that's very calculated in trying unique features and doing something different. Someone that's looking at the rail and going, well, there's the approach, but if I hit it from the side and I do this, it's gonna be fun. Someone that understands they want a board that they can manipulate any way they want, but still have rebound. Now I'll say it, this board wasn't for me. I knew it the second I got on it, but I still had a blast with it. It's one of those boards that for being a jib stick, it's versatile enough that you're not just limited to hitting rails with it and having a floppy noodle. You can still hit jumps where it counts, and you can still cruise around the mountain respectively. I mean, steeps I'd probably avoid, and going pow hunting with it probably wouldn't be the thing, but cruising a groomer with your friends, go for it.
So what other boards would be comparable to Scott Stevens' technical trickery on this stunt stick? Well, the Rome Artifact Rocker, the K2 Worldwide Weapon, the LibTech Box Scratcher, the Arbor Draft.
The Space Metal Fantasy is the women's equivalent to the Scotty Stevens Pro model. Alright, so now you've decided what snowboard you're going to get, and you're going to decide where you're going to buy it. If you're shopping local, awesome. Slap your local shop guys a high five and tell them they're killing it. But for those of you that are buying online, why don't you shop from one of the links we have down below? That way you support us and you get a deal on your snowboard.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way you can see all the relevant or irrelevant snowboarding content that we're putting out for you guys. So smash that bell down below. That way you're getting a notification. And I'll see you guys in another video.